Free education in Zambia was just once a campaign promise. Today, it has become one of the biggest government policies shaping the country's future. But many Zambians are now asking important questions. Is free education now protected by law? How is it funded? What has changed since its introduction? And can Zambia sustain it in the long term? In this video, I deep dive into Zambia's free education policy, how it becomes part of the country's legal framework, the successes, the challenges, and what it means for millions of families across the nation. Welcome to the deep dive on streetwise policies. As today, I take you through the Zambian's new policy, new free education policy being introduced and accepted by the Parliament of Zambia. I'll be taking you through the steps and how it's being taken, how it's been done, and the challenges faced so far and how the improvement is going to be happening. So today we dive deep into it as I take you through on the journey of the free education in Zambia. You know, sometimes someone will be asking what the free education, what does it mean? In 2021, shortly after taking office, President Hakainde Hichilema announced the introduction of free education in all public primary and secondary schools. Policy removed tuition fees and many school-related charges that prevented children from accessing education. For years, thousands of children, especially in rural areas, were dropping out of school because families could not afford school fees. The government argued that education is a constitutional right and should not depend on a family's income. Under the free education policy, tuition fee in public schools were removed. Many examination and PTA, which is the parent, teacher, and association-related costs were reduced. More learners were encouraged to return to school. Vulnerable children gained greater access to classrooms. The move was praised across Zambia and by international organizations as a major step toward improving literacy and reducing poverty. In the free education law in Zambia, this is where debate becomes important. Free education in Zambia began mainly as a government policy decision under the Ministry of Education. However, Zambia's constitution already recognized education as an important right. The government has since moved to strengthen free education through legal and institutional frameworks so that future government cannot easily remove it. Supporters want free education fully entrenched into law through legislation and constitutional guarantees. Why? Because policies can change with politics, but laws are harder to reverse. Many education activists argue that transforming free education into a strong legal obligation would protect future generations. Why the government introduced free education in Zambia? The government said the policy was introduced for several reasons. Number one is that fighting poverty. Many families were struggling economically. Some parents had to choose which child to send to school while others stay home. Free education aimed to remove that burden. The second on the list is increasing literacy, which is the education is directly linked to national development. Countries with educated population tend to have stronger economies, better healthcare systems, and lower crime rates. And the third on the list is reducing early marriage. In some communities, girls drop out because families could not afford school. Many end up in early marriages. Keeping children in school helps reduce teenage pregnancies and child marriages. Fourth on the list is the economic transformation, where the government believes Zambia cannot industrialize without an educated workforce. Free education is therefore seen as an investment in Zambia's future's economy. The impact of the free education. Since the policy began, Zambia has seen a dramatic increase in school enrollment. Thousands of learners who had dropped out returned to school. Some schools recorded overcrowding for the first time in years. Communities celebrated because Children who once stayed home were finally back in class. Parents especially welcomed the relief from school fees. For many families, the policy meant money could now be used for food, farming, and healthcare instead of tuition costs. The government also began recruiting more teachers to respond to the growing number of learners. This became one of the largest teacher recruitment drives in Zambia's history. The challenges, but despite its popularity, free education has also faced serious challenges. Overcrowding. Some classrooms now hold over 40 or 100 pupils in class. This makes learning difficult. Infrastructure problems. Many schools lack not enough desks as well. Yes, many schools lack not enough desks, toiletries, classrooms, learning materials, teacher shortages as well, because there's no enough teachers in class to teach. Even though thousands of teachers were recruited, some rural schools still face staffing shortages. Hidden costs. While tuition may be free, some parents still struggle with uniforms, transport, books, boarding costs. Critics argue that education is not truly free if families still face these expenses. Funding concern. One of the biggest debates is sustainability. Can Zambia continue funding free education year after year while also dealing with debt, healthcare needs, and economic pressure? How free education is funded in Zambia. The government mainly funded free education through the national budget. Money is allocated to schools, teachers' salary, learning materials, infrastructure projects. International partners and donors have also supported Zambia's education sector. However, experts warn that long-term success depends on economic growth and proper financial management. If the economy weakens, education funding could come under pressure. The political debate here is that free education has now become a major political issue in Zambia. The ruling party, which is the United Party for National Development, government present it as one of its biggest achievements. Supporters say it has restored hope to millions of families. Opposition parties, however, argue that the policy needs better planning, improvement infrastructure, and more sustainable funding. Some critics say the government announced the policy too quickly before schools were fully prepared. Others believe that program should be expanded to include free uniforms, meals, and learning materials. What happens next is that the future of free education in Zambia will likely depend on three things, which is the legal protection. Will Parliament fully strengthen it into permanent law? So yes, the law have been made already. So now it's up to the Parliament to make sure this law go into full permanent structure so that it can be there for long, so that the students and the people of the country can enjoy the free education. The economic stability, which is, can Zambia consistently finance the program? And then the quality education aspect, will learners receive quality education or simply access the overcrowded classroom? Because access alone is not enough. The real goal is quality education that prepares young people for jobs, innovation, and national development. In my conclusion, I'm trying to ask, wherever you are listening to me right now, or you are watching this particular video, I would like to know from your aspect or your position where you are in your community in Zambia. Tell me, how is the free education helping your community? How did it help your community since the introduction of the free education? How did it help your community? Is your people enjoying, or did they believe in the free education in your community? What exactly is going on? Let me know in the comment section. In my conclusion, free education has changed the lives of many Zambia's families. For some children, it opened doors that once seemed impossible. For others, it represented a second chance at life, but the policy also raised serious questions about funding, infrastructure, and a long-term sustainability. One thing is certain: education has now become one of the central political and economic issues shaping Zambia's future, and the debate over whether free education should become fully protected by law is far from over. Now, the other one I would like to add, is that, or the question I ask is, what do you think about Zambia's free education policy? Should it be fully protected by law? Has it helped your family or community? And what challenges have you seen on the ground? Drop your views in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification for more deep dive into Zambian politics, economics, and national development. So here we end it on the Streetwise Politics. Bye-bye.
For a while. And when that party won in 2011, which was the Patriotic Front, I don't know whether it still exists, the Patriotic Front, when it won, one honorable member responded, the minister said, who can give free education? Yeah, you know, that's why you're asking. You will tell me he is not here to defend himself. So I leave it there. It's important that you own it, because honesty doesn't destroy anything. Who? Then I was listening. I said, they were promising. Now they realize they can't give free education. And when we came here as UPND, one of the first questions on the first Friday I stood here, madam, I was asked, where is free education? My children, we are paying. I remember still my response. I said, this is your budget. Just wait. Because that was September. I said, this is your budget. I think members can remember. May I try to remember? This is the truth. Now, today we have free education. Is that not a miracle? Miracle. Meal allowances were gone. Madam, no meal allowance. Today there is meal allowance. Is that not a miracle? The honorable shouting there, madam, has or must have some of her own pupils. I am talking of pupils who could not have gone to school. Today, she can send people from Chienge to